Cool. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Monoxide Podcast. I'm your host, Harris, a.k.a. Monoxide, man of many automotive aspirations. And I'm here with my, it's been a long day, co-host.
See, now we're sharing a mic, so this is going to be weird. I just started talking there, and I didn't have a mic in front of me. We do these events, we go out, and then we party at night. So, like, sometimes we probably should be more professional about it, but sometimes I'm a little brain dead the next day.
Well, yeah, because like now, we got 3 guests in here plus me and Dan. Usually I just kick Dan out, but yeah, we got 5 of us in here, and this is a made-at-home production, so we're missing a 5th mic. But nonetheless, today we got some Honda guys on. I've been saying this since we had Kyle Larkin on. Like, I need to talk to some fast Honda guys, because he works on Hondas. But realistically, like, we've never had anybody that races them consistently like you guys do, right? So today we got Peter, Fuji, and then Nia. That brain dead thing he was talking about.
Can we just call you Money?
You can.
Yeah? All right, that sounds good.
Easier. He goes by Money. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I met all 3 of you here for the first time, I think, here. I don't think we met before. Sometimes
No, I haven't.
Yeah, sometimes I pop into John's shop, and he has various people in there, and I meet people all the time there. But that's one of the highlights of this event is there's a lot of fast Hondas out here. A lot of them, and you guys fall into that category. So why don't each of you kind of tell me about your builds, and then, obviously, on the tuning side of things, just kind of tell me about it. So I guess we'll start with you. Just tell us about your car.
Yeah, once again, Peter Lee. I have a 93 Honda Civic Hatch CX all-wheel drive. It is a K24 fully built with a 6270 precision turbo. And that's pretty much it. Basic all-wheel drive build.
Nice and simple, straight to the point.
Straight to the point, yeah.
And then you're not all-wheel drive, but you still got a pretty legit build.
Yeah, so a little bit about my car. My car is older than all my kids. I've had it since 2001, 2002-ish. It's a 98 Honda Civic. I've owned it ever since then. Babied it, garaged it, zero rust, for Minnesota. It's a 1,000 horsepower Civic. It's a front wheel drive car. Making a lot of big boosts. Turbos as big as the motor, pretty much. So, I've had it for a long time, and it's sentimental value, and it's tried and true, and it's still hanging on with me.
So you're the original owner of that car?
Yeah.
Really? So did it mods right out the gate, or you just drive it? Enjoyed the car for a while and then started building?
No, we had baby mods at first. Comes with rims. Start with rims, then lowering the car, and then removing the back seats. To make things lighter. As time went on, less and less pieces of the car was actually in the interior. And then went to the nitrous side of it. Back then, the import side didn't have any technology. Nobody's really interested in building it. Because these were gas savers, right? These are gas saver cars. They were meant to be reliable and to get great gas mileage, right? So there was really no technology, no support for it. So a lot of us just kind of made stuff up along the way. Whatever works, share the news. There was no internet back then, right? So I mean, it's a lot of it just through phone and through networking and just talking. So no texting, no online forums, no nothing back then. So. But it's progressed, it's been with me for a long time, and like I said, it's older than all my kids, so.
Yep. So tell us a little bit about you, because I saw you on a computer. You're the guy with the laptop.
Yes, I am the guy with the laptop. My name is Nia. People call me Money. If you know me by Money, you'll hear Money. They'll call me Money. But let's see what kind of car. I own a 2001 S2000. It's turbocharged. Had that car for a while too. You said I'm the guy with the laptop. Well, yeah, I started tuning when my cousin Pachua didn't have a place to put his dyno. So he put it at my house, and I was like, oh shit, my brother's car's here, and why don't just throw it on and see what it is, see what I can do. And from there on, I learned what the software does and what things are doing, and that's what started it.
What software did you start on?
I started on AM Infinity.
Okay, and what how long ago did you get into tuning then? How many years ago was that?
3.
3? Okay.
Not too long. So, was it Peter's car was the next one I tuned. It's on a hot tech, so tuned his car, and it's doing pretty good, but could be better. It's still figuring out the software, so figuring out what's doing, what things are doing in there. But yeah, other than that, I've tuned a few other kind of softwares. What is it? Honda is not bad. Pretty much anything. They're pretty much all like I can say this. Tuning software. You have your fuel, your ignition, then you have your launch stuff, and that's about it. Nothing else than that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys are running pretty quick out here. Now, granted, some things didn't go as planned. That's just racing.
Yeah.
That's racing.
Sure.
Especially that's just part of it. I mean, but you, like, I remember you were telling us a story yesterday. Like the fastest run you've had, what was it? Like you said, a 9.3?
Yeah. So the fastest time I went with my car was in Oklahoma, Tulsa. I went 9.1 at 158 miles per hour.
And is that the one that you said you were missing third gear?
Yep, I misshifted into third, and then I got it back into third, and then put it back into fourth, and it still went 9.1. So potentially could have been the 8-second, 8.9, 8.8 pass for sure.
And then you guys kind of look like you're a few years apart then. So
yeah.
So what's the age difference between you guys then?
So I grew up watching these guys drag race when I was like in middle school. And I watched my older brother. He raced too, but everyone was just street racing back then. Versus these guys were always at the drag strip, like you name it, in the Midwest here, Great Lakes, Rock Falls. These guys were always there, testing, braking, learning their cars up. And I always saw them from afar. I never really hung out with them until I started building my own car and kind of connected with once again Butcher. I went with him to California to get his dyno, brought it back to his house, and he started learning to tune. I was like, it kind of like escalated from there to where we are today. Yeah, that's how I met.
I didn't know Peter.
Money, and I've always watched, like I said, I always watched them from afar, from just like the sidelines, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, the dyno, did I say it was that's PC's dyno?
Yeah,
Butcher's dyno.
Yeah,
and my cousin.
Yeah, we drove like I drove like 2 straight days ago to to the valleys of California, and then pretty much drove back and like in like a 4-day trip. It was crazy, but I mean, it was a really good price for the dyno during that time because we bought it during first year of COVID, so like 2019-ish. Yeah, it's the beginning of COVID. Mm-hmm. It was a adventure for sure.
And they let you in and out of the state of California during?
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, during that time, it was, like mask up. A lot of the gas stations, or at least a lot of the states that we went through were red states, and you know how that goes. We won't go there, but that no one really had COVID precautions until we got to, the other states that were more like critical about it. So it wasn't too bad, honestly. Stopped in Vegas, had fun too. So
gotta stop at Vegas, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, spending 4 days locked in a truck with some people that you just met, that'll solidify a friendship for sure.
For sure, yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of Hondas here. Is there like a Honda Super Bowl somewhere? Is there like an event? Like, is this a pretty big one for you guys? And then, like, what's the fastest Civic out there?
So if you're talking about class of Civics, right, there's a lot of different classes. There's front-wheel drive, there's all-wheel drive, and then there's some rear-wheel drive Civics, but they don't utilize the Honda motors, right? But the fastest all-wheel drive Civic right now to date is Speed Factory's all-wheel drive Civic. It's a B series all-wheel drive. It runs like 6.8 or 6.9 or something like that.
On the West Coast, yeah.
Yeah, and they're on the West Coast. And then if you're talking about second runner-up for K series, it's in Florida. Frustrate. It's a green EG hatch K series all-wheel drive sequential. So otherwise, if you're talking about all Super Bowl out, like just Hondas only. We just came back from H-Day. We went out there to watch a bunch of 7 seconds all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive cars. It's pretty much, H Day is pretty much what it is, stands for Honda Day, right?
Honda Day.
Yeah,
good
and
event.
All
it's a
Hondas,
good,
yeah.
pretty much nothing there is but besides Hondas.
Not like the radio commercial you hear about Honda Days where
No,
you
no,
go
no,
in and you
no.
get,
Yeah.
you know, sign your
Yeah,
lease
so you guys
and-
know Jason. Yeah, you know, like Jason Pro was there. Jason Pro does the kind of like he leads kind of the show car side of deal, and then the drag racing is led by somebody else. So this is just a big community come together as considered Honda Day.
Just a day for all
Yeah.
Hondas to go there and
It's basically like
Show
this
car.
this event, except
Yeah.
all Hondas.
Yeah, so just to kind of touch on that, you know, Hondas in general, you know, you have a small displacement cylinder.
Yep.
Before the all-wheel drive phenomenon is front-wheel drive, right? So the front-wheel drive guys will always have a disadvantage because basically, you know, the weight transfer is horrible because you're spinning the front tires, you know, versus the rear tires. So historically, the front-wheel drive guys has always struggled with traction. You know, you can make 1,300 horsepower, but if you can't get it to the ground, you're not going nowhere, right? You're just spinning. So to counteract that, you know, a lot of the guys, front-wheel drive guys, put a lot of weight in the front, you know, just to, you know, put all the pressure down onto your slicks. The game changer was that was when some of the guys, you know, started moving parts from like CRVs, Honda Elements that were all-wheel drive into the Civics, right? And that was a game changer. You know, now traction is not the problem anymore. You know? Now you can utilize that 12, 13, 1,400 horsepower. Grab the power just like a rear-wheel drive car can. And now definitely at Honda Day, you know, you're seeing 6 second, 7 second, like it's like it's a normal thing now, you know. And it's definitely opened up a lot of eyes on I'd say the domestic car side, because they're saying, why are these, you know, how are these little four cylinders running this fast, right? You know, and you know, these guys are going 200 plus miles per hour, you know, in these little four cylinders. So,
Well, it's crazy. Like, for example, like the first Huracan in the sixes was just like a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you got Hondas that have been doing that forever, and it's like you got a third of the cylinders. Like, that's
Exactly.
crazy.
yeah.
So, well, hold on. So, we're sharing a mic here. Right? We're fighting for a mic over here.
There's so many questions.
There's so honestly, dude, because like, you know, he comes from a Ford background. I come from a Mopar background. So it's like, and you know, through this podcast and being a photographer, like I've learned about all these different platforms. But like Honda's just that one that's just been elusive to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just because I've been hanging around. You know, I started getting around John recently, so I'm trying to learn more of this stuff. But like, is there a reason that you're still front wheel drive? Because I know that Peter's all wheel drive. Is that a plan of yours in the future to go all wheel drive, or you like that front wheel style?
I think it's your self goal. You know, you want to self challenge. Some people do say that, you know, going all wheel drive, you know, that's the smarter way to do things, to go fast instantly, versus, you know, why am I keep fighting with, you know, adding weight in the front and going and staying front wheel drive, right? I believe that for my personal goals, I want to be as fast as I can, you know, going front wheel drive. If stuff you know, evolves later on, if I do want to go all wheel drive, I still have the option, you know, just add all wheel drive components onto it, you know.
Well, that's one of the questions I was going to ask when I was trying to slap him to get the mic from him. How hard is that, like, conversion? So, like, I saw that CRV transfer case is about this big. I think I could put it in the glove box of my car.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, is it a pretty simple deal?
So there's a lot of kits out there like S1, the you know,
FCS,
CP, you know, like another FCS. You know, there's a lot of good kits out there, and it's some kits are where minimum fabrication. It's just bolt on, and then there's some kits like mine. You know, you're gonna have to cut at least the upper back of the control arm to kind of clear where the diff sits. So when I first started doing, like, I saw that they came up with the R&D and all-wheel drive, I just knew I had to hop on it. It's just no-brainer. Like, you know, front-wheel drive, Honda's spinning, not winning, right? So it's like all-wheel drive, I'm just all in. So back to that question, it's easy, and it could be as complicated as you want. It's just depending on what kind of horsepower you're trying to aim for and what kind of power or use you're trying to do for racing-wise.
So that was another question I had. These motors. I mean, like, I know what it's like to take a Coyote to 1,000. It's not too hard, but whatever. But the fact that you guys are squeezing 1,000 horsepower out of these. What is the placement on them? Like 1.8, 1.9?
Yep.
2.0 and up. Yeah, about
2.0
Yeah.
and up, okay.
2.0 and up.
So how high can you go before you got to go billet block?
So we seen guys on a professional level push these up to like north of 1,600 horse, like before, and that's on the cast.
80 psi,
Yeah.
70 psi.
Yeah, you know, like
boost, yeah.
Jamie PFI here this weekend, a brand new motor. You know, he's like,
He's probably 14,
They
14
like-
1,500 words.
he told me like with the data that they went down, even though they shot the crank out the block, like that would have been one of the fastest passes he would have laid down, like going down to Orlando, Florida, you know. And he's like, damn, I like that. I like to see data like that versus going to a crappy track and then, you know, compared to those data. Because, you know, Jamie, they race like maybe 50 races a year. And I guess for them exploring up to Minnesota, it gives them like a point of view like, yeah, I would love to come back out here again for sure. At least according to PFI.
Yeah, and you know, like Hondas were, you know, Honda engineers, you know, they never imagined 400
Yeah.
horsepower per cylinder. You know,
Yeah.
you know, it's just a crazy amount of power, and you know, the technology just progressed so much. You know, but you know, the main thing is that we're a lot of us are squeezing. You know, we're basically borderline of breaking every
Yeah.
time. You know, we make that pass because we're squeezing all we can out of this little, 2.0, 1.8, or you know, this little 4-cylinder. You know. And we're just maxing everything out, you know, sending it every time, you know. So,
But I want to add a little bit of something to these Honda motors. To make it a little bit more reliable, you got to have your own little secret ingredient to it. Like, you know, like don't go copper O-ring or go fire O-ring or, you know, like torque specs or different head gaskets or just something like timing, you know, setting timing. Like, you hear all these Hondas here, they sound like lawnmowers, right? Because it's locked VTEC. So, how do I set the cams degree to where, you know, I don't need to add so much timing to get it where I need it to go, at least for time and speed. You know, so there's a little bit, I guess, experience and error and trial and within everyone's cars and builds. So
knowing who's in your camp, right?
Yeah.
It's like each camp might have a
Yep.
different approach. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like there's a few different groups here, I
Yeah.
believe, right?
Yeah.
So it's like they each might approach it differently. Is what you're saying?
I always like my thing is always like whatever program your tuner's on, then you have to be on that program.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I always refer to.
Yeah,
Like whatever my tuner says, I'm just doing it. I have no question to ask, you know.
Before we get too far into the show, I wanted to take a moment to talk about Raise a Hood. If your daily driver is having issues, aka your beater you got off Craigslist, Raise a Hood's telemechanics and AI tools can help you diagnose and solve the issues you may be dealing with for a fraction of the cost. All you have to do is add your car to the Raise a Hood garage to get started. You can provide the AI tool, also known as Gus, with the specifics of the issues you're having, and it'll help you narrow down what the culprit is. It's a great way to bounce ideas off of to figure out what actually might be the problem. You could then select from a variety of solutions to explore the cost and difficulty of doing the repair yourself versus taking it to a shop. If your car doesn't have detailed solutions yet, that's totally fine. Just go ahead and add your car to the garage for free, and that'll let the Raise a Hood team know what to focus on as they continue to develop and grow. If you want to try out Gus or chat with a telemechanic, go to raiseahood.com and add your car to the garage to get started. Use code MONOXIDE-FREE for a 1-month free subscription or Monoxide20 to save 20% on a 30-minute call with a telemechanic. Let's get back to the show. Longtime listeners of the show know that I don't like to peddle BS. Whether it's my own merch or the people I represent, I want to make sure that my listeners are getting the best quality stuff. That said, we had the Lunatech team on a podcast on episode 57, and they talked about their awesome detailing products. My personal favorite's Aquabead, just because it really makes it easy to not have to clean my car again. But I also enjoy Skeeter Deleter and Lemon Tech because I got a lot of brake dust from riding people's asses and having to slam on my brake. Don't worry about it, okay? That said, you want to use code Monoxide, save 15%, give it a shot. I promise you won't be disappointed.
So I came across a video the other day, and it was somebody putting concrete in their block.
Yeah.
That's a Honda thing, right?
Yeah.
Where they put it in like the water jackets
Yep.
or in the cooling area around the outside of the cylinder to make it stronger.
Right. So
You guys
you
know anybody doing that kind of shit? Or
well, we have a guy here
There's a couple guys here doing it.
that has epoxy blocks, which is very similar. Maybe it's not as strong as concrete. You know, you see Boosted Boys, they post their like results with concrete blocks all the time. You know, it's a hit and miss. You know, it's just like a Band-Aid. You know?
I think that it'll get you by, but I honestly, if you really want to, you don't really want to do it right, you have to just leave your block. You know?
Yeah,
That's
don't
the
be
only way
cheap.
to do it. I wouldn't be cheap.
Yeah, don't be
You're-
cheap.
You're gonna pay for it at the end.
Yeah,
Tell you
pretty
right now.
much.
So you guys aren't filling yours with anything then?
Nope.
No.
So I have a CSS block on mine, so it's not really a sleeve. It's just like kind of like a guard, you know. Versus Fuji.
Yeah, my sleeves are RS sleeves, and this guy's from Los Angeles. Dave from RS Machine. So I've got his sleeves from him, which is proven. You know, great guy. Been in the industry for a long time, and he does a lot of big names as well. So
OG sleeves.
So Peter's CSS more like a block guard style.
Yeah.
I'm a full sleeve, you know, and then the concrete epoxy stuff that's more like
Yeah, I guess it's
coolant and a lot of pressure buildup. So a lot of them go that route.
yeah. They just do that just to hold the cylinder walls from flexing. You know, that's about it. But like I said, it works. But you're better off going steel. All steel sleeves are the best. Because that aluminum, and it's not gonna hold.
Have you guys always been Honda guys, by the way?
Yeah.
Me,
For me,
well, not really. I've owned STIs. I
could see you on a Supra.
MK4 Supra that I sold to build my hatch. It's a crazy story, but we won't go there, I think.
Yeah, I've always been a Honda guy because I think as, you know, as a youngster, right? You obviously you always start off with like a Civic, you know, gas saver, you know, never meant to go fast. You know, the parents would buy you one, you know.
Cheap and affordable.
Yeah.
Little do they know it. You know, it started getting progressively faster and, like I said, more gutted.
Kind of springs.
I'm originally a Honda guy. I also have Supras, and you know, I'm all around just a car guy. You know, I love every kind of build, whether it's import, domestic. You know, high horsepower show cars.
Okay.
You know,
You're gonna get you in a Hellcat soon? Is that what you're telling me?
Oh yeah, I love Hellcat. Yeah, I love Hellcat.
Well, for me, if that Hellcat's not all-wheel drive, I'm not with you. That's the program for me.
So I'm very I'm just a all-around car guy. I love all builds, and you know, I give credit to anybody who who wrenches on it and just has the same passion. You know,
So one thing you mentioned earlier on is like technology has progressed so much, and you know, tuning as a whole has changed a lot in the last 20 years.
Oh yeah.
So what would you say you got your car 2002?
Yep, 2002. Yep.
Yep. So what's changed between now and then? Like, what's something that you've noticed like over the years? Like, because like you know that you made a jump from 3, 4, 500, like 100 horsepower, like every 2 years, right? I mean, I think that is that the math? I don't know. What are you at now? 1,000?
Yeah.
It's like
well over 1,000. So.
Yeah. So I mean, you're getting 100 horsepower every 3, 4 years. Is that how you saw it? Or?
Yeah. That's exactly. I think the biggest jump for the Honda game is the support and the engineering of and the integration of these standalone
ECUs.
computers. Yeah, ECUs. Back then we were using stock, just original stock ECUs, tricking it, or we would put chips in it, solder chips in there, try to change out the maps. We would go as far as going to pet stores and buying check valves. Check valves and like aquarium tubing. To increase your boost or your map pressure. So we had to be very creative because there was no support, there was no technology behind it yet. But like you mentioned, as the years progressed, people started noticing that these guys are getting faster. So there's a market for it, and if there's a market for it, people are interested in designing something for it. So we've been very blessed to see the progression of, soldering your own little chip in there to now is, there's a full blown support and a market, with various ECUs, that we can utilize to be just competitive as the domestic market or the European market. So.
Well, one thing like I learned, I was watching a video last week, like a 40-minute documentary on the 2JZ, right? Mm-hmm. It's like people didn't really start figuring out like how insane that was until 10 years after the fact, because the technology wasn't there to really push it.
Yeah,
I mean that thing is. I mean, they really overbuilt that thing. Uh-huh. It's just crazy. And so you probably saw a lot of that. Because, like, you're all K motors, right?
Beasters, yeah.
K. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yep. So what's the difference between you guys then? For us domestic boys.
So just simple terms, B is belt and K is chain. Yeah. It's new or old, right? Mm-hmm. It's just modern cars, chains.
Timing chains versus timing belts.
Belt,
There's more to it too. The K motor is more advanced in technology wise. The B
as
Beast
far as
still.
flow and everything, right?
Yeah, it's way bigger motor.
When you say way bigger, how much bigger?
The ports are way bigger. The intake ports, the exhaust ports, displacement. You could get a B series up to like maybe a two, the most, and it probably still won't flow as much as a K20, So a 2.0 K20 probably flow better.
Yeah, so the years of B generations started at 1.6 liter, and it ended at 1.8. K series started at 2.0, and with the K 2.4, so
For liters, yeah.
at liters. So it's pretty much all motor Ks. They board that all the way up to 2.7 for all motor. Turbo, you don't need to board that big, besides just honing your piston rings to whatever spec that you feel like it works for yourself.
Yeah, but just going back to what you said about the 2JZ, like the B series, it wasn't known about the potential of it, until pretty recently. I think right now, if I'm correct, I think the B series motor still holds the world record
For
being faster though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the K series is right behind it.
Yeah, right behind it.
Yeah. It's not far. Just because technology has so advanced right now, like everyone's pushing these things, like throwing tons of money and R&D in it. So,
But it comes from these imports building their stuff to be dependable and whatever. So they accidentally over-engineer their stuff to the point where you guys get your hands on it and you're like, well, let's see where shit breaks.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
well, I think like I've heard this from other podcasts and just tuners, top-notch tuners. They feel like Japan, when they manufacturing these motors, they didn't plan on for us to freaking mod these motors to be 1,000, 2,000 horsepower capable. They modded to where it's most efficient, and that's what Japanese really empathize on.
Yeah, they
efficiency.
I had a 1990 Honda Accord 4-door 5-speed, and the clutch went out, and it had 220,000 miles. And I was a young kid. I beat the living shit out of that car. And I took it to the junkyard. I bet if you went out there now, you could still start that fucker up.
Oh, yeah, guaranteed. Yeah.
They probably would. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that.
Back then, probably when I was watching these guys race, single cam turbo was pretty much the top dog of drag racing, because the motors were so surprisingly efficient that you didn't need to go to B series, because B series they had deep pockets. But single cams can hang just as much. Throw all the boost at it and they'll handle it, even though it's a single cam. It's a D series of the Honda motors, and it's 1.6 liter. So Honda motors are each series of the engines are capable of its own power level and torture, pretty much.
How much boost are you guys running through there?
So today, my car has seen probably the highest boost ever. So we made 37
pounds.
And is that after you told him, hey, turn it up?
Yeah.
Well, I was aiming for 50, but the turbo he has is creating out too much back pressure, so it's opening pushing open the wastegate, and it's just limiting us from spinning the turbo faster. He has to change his setup to a CO2, so we could actually use that CO2 to shut the gate and get
create more power.
Overspin
That'd
the
be
turbo.
crazy.
Pretty much overspin the turbo to get it to the 50 pounds.
Yeah, and in my car, I think we've seen around
Yeah, I seen 55.
55 pounds.
Yeah, but today we did 45 pounds. It wasn't really running right. We had some, I guess, things we had to
gremlins today.
Yeah, figure out. He's been out racing for I think a year now. So
good thing your competitor had some bigger gremlins today.
He dropped something off on the track.
Yeah.
So I think once again, the Honda motors, I guess, over-engineered, and we got lucky, and that would have been like they say, bring a knife to a gunfight. With everybody. So.
On the more you don't have nothing and he has a gun.
Yeah, right.
That car is fast. That car is a 6-second car. And it's a pro mod, right? Am I correct in that?
It's like almost a pro mod, but not really. It's one of those, it's like one of those classes below it or something. I don't know. We just had a conversation with a guy an hour ago, and we already forgot. So when we listen back to the tape, we'll find out.
I bet his 8 miles like what 3.8, maybe 3.9.
I think it was like high threes, low four, like really low fours.
Yeah,
I think he was touching the threes.
These guys, they're no joke. They're pretty quick.
Yeah, he came and talked to us. He's like, yeah, it's so super upset, having a faster car. And then he said he watched Fuji run at 14. And he's just like slapping the face, and his car could have been just running and could have coasted down there, probably ran 14, honestly.
Very, very good sportsman though. He came and shook my
sure,
hand and said, like every racer has his days, like some days are better, some days are worse, and you go out to enough events, eventually you'll get that win, right?
Yep.
Or you might get the loss, but you won't know unless you show to events and perform and race, So very good guy.
So you guys do a lot of traveling for events as well, then?
So I lived in California for a while. Moved back to Minnesota. Previously, about 5-10 years ago, we would go up and down the West Coast, out to from Southern California all the way to Seattle, and then cutting east, head out to like Las Vegas, Arizona, Since I moved back to Minnesota here, we've gone to Great Lakes, which is in Wisconsin, right there by towards the Chicago area.
His neighbor states.
Yeah,
we haven't gone to like H-Day over in like New Jersey or anything far.
We haven't done any far road trips. I think the only person to do that would be Nate. He's been to the World Cup. There's another guy, all-motor guy, David Chang. He runs. He took out his all-motor car to WCF H-Day. I think he won one of those.
Do you guys know about WCF?
World Cup Finals?
Yeah.
I've heard it's on my bucket list. I want to go. I want to at some point, but have you guys been like spectators?
We haven't gone there, but we always watch it on on live. But
nothing gets done when World Cup's on, because we're on watching,
So you guys have friends going there too, right?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. I saw some of these guys go, like that, what's his name?
Jamie Davila goes.
Which he's here today. He's always there. He's very competitive racer, well known in the Honda community as well.
Do you guys have goals for something like that? I mean, is this kind of just like you're having a good time, you like going to the track, it's a hobby, or do you guys are like, you want to do some competing and a little more traveling, or is that?
Well, for me, I built my car to be in the Mean Street, which is a 64 true class, which turbo trim 64, and then being at 600 pound minimum. I always built that to be a WCF car in the class, but this year it got bumped out of WCF, so a lot of people are upset and they sold their turbos and they're ditching it, going bigger now. So the only events that would still qualify would be like small events like this or like IFO. Yeah, but we try to not go to IFOs because we don't like the one day thing. It's just like rushing yourself, especially like today, like this weekend. My transfer case exploded. I had to get one here, rob one out of my brother's car, axle breaking, like it's just like not feasible just for a one day event, especially when you spend so much money going out there already, in my opinion at least.
We also like the nice thing about, well, not the nice thing, the thing that sucks, is you have to go 2 hours back to the cities.
Exactly.
Right? Like some of these other tracks, like for example, like a Texas 2K Summit Racing is, 30 minutes away. No big deal, right?
Just like their home turf, yeah.
Yeah, but for you, it's like you have to make a call. First of all, you have to see if anybody has it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were working in the pits. How long did it take you to swap that today?
So the transfer case, it took me about 2 hours because I never disassemble one from like taking all these internals off before. So I would just call one of my friend Alex Wynn from Omaha, and I was like, "Hey, yo, like, just tell me what I need to take off for." He's like, "Take off this cover, and then there's an axle that holds it, so don't shoot off the L wrench socket on the front side." I'm like, "Oh, damn, I've been trying to get that off the whole time." It's just a rookie mistake, but it's now I know it. I can definitely assemble one at this point.
More so like Peter's situation. It's not really about having the part, but having the determination not to give up.
Yeah.
Finding different routes, different avenues, and working who you can, networking and just, not giving up, that's I think that's the most important part of this sport is, don't let those things just drag you down and you give up, right? That's the easy route, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Challenge yourself and find a way, find a path to to get it solved, right? And if you don't get it solved, at least you attempted to, Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I was hanging around your camp over there, and you're like, man, we came up here. We're not going to give up. It's like, we're already here.
Exactly. Well, I was saying, like, Fuji, like, there's no way they can help me because they never done it before. So, me being K-Series guy, like, I'm going to have to just kind of take the initiative myself and be pit crew myself and, like, and be the racer at the same time. But definitely, it's, like I said, it's very discouraging when you can't figure something out. But if it's just one of those things, like, if you really think back about it at the moment, you never realize that how it is very frustrating, but it's also rewarding. As soon as I was done, I figured it out. I was like, heck yes, I can go back and race now. I'm all happy again. I was like, forget about the problems that we just had. We just learned it,
It's so I've broken some stuff. We do a lot of rallies, and these guys always give me shit. But I kind of take pride in the fact that I've never been stranded.
Yeah,
we've been on rallies. I've done wheel bearings in parking garages. I've had to do supercharger belts all the time. I had one time I had a wire break off my starter, and I have my wife with me, so it's like she's sitting in the car, and either we pop start that fucker, the 2015 Mustang, and we're pop starting, or I have to get underneath the car, put it in neutral, put the e-brake on, lay underneath, touch the wire to the positive side, so she starts, and then get back in the car and go.
Exactly.
It looks real stupid. Got this race car, and I'm laying underneath it to start it.
So did you choose pop the clutch? No.
I could have her do it, but I'll put it in second gear. Then I try and park somewhere where I'm on a hill, so that otherwise my wife she'll get out and shove that car, man, so I can pop the clutch.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I've had guys come up to me that are driving, big time 6-figure cars and be like, dude, I'm impressed that you can do that stuff, and I think it means a lot to me, and I think I take a lot of pride in the fact that I can. Sure. You're not going to stop me.
Right, and you work in your own cars. You don't mind getting dirty.
Yep,
that's the key thing. There's a lot of people here that just buy cars and try to just race it. And I give props to the people who are willing to get dirty and get their hands, do the thing.
Push it back in a trailer, drop it back off at the shop, and go, is she broke? I need it fixed for this weekend.
Yeah. Also helps that you have some friends supporting you as well, like. Maybe not like supporting you and like helping you learn it, but maybe just like, hey man, don't give up. It might be discouraging at the moment, but I know you can figure it out. Like it's not rocket science here. It's just a matter of taking the initiative and getting it done.
Or just it sounds dumb, but I've had when I was doing my wheel bearings, like I had 3 or 4 guys that like everybody was inside having dinner party, and they're just out there drinking beers, like just keeping me company while I'm working on my car.
Yeah, I was pretty frustrated today. I was just like, I don't even know what I was doing, but it's just like take one apart quickly and then kind of try to remember that sequence, and hopefully it goes back together the same way you rip one apart to put the other one on together, So
I gotta give you props on that, man. Like you were over in that camp, and I didn't see a moment of despair or nothing. Like you had some positivity over there. Like everybody around you is being all supportive.
Yeah,
you jump on the phone. Like it's difficult, right? Because and to be fair, I've seen you do this on rallies as well, Dan. Like when his stuff's not working, he's like upset, but it's like, you know what, we're gonna get back on the road. Right. You have that determination.
Exactly.
And I didn't see a moment you were mad, and that's impressive. I got to give you that.
Yeah, I was just maybe frustrated and mad inside myself, within myself, but I just like, I gotta stay positive around my people too. Especially when you're out here racing and they don't have their cars, because their cars are still sitting on Jackson. You gotta be example. You gotta give them some type of encouragement, maybe, or maybe just show them that this is what it really takes, even though I might be frustrated, but at the same time, they're like, next time they're going to be out here with their cars doing the same thing, and maybe support that along the generations of youngsters, and that's what I want to see, just watch the sport grow, because I'm not going to lie, here in the Midwest, like we were telling Brad, like it's good to see them come up from Colorado. It gives growth and potential. And it's sad that we didn't have the normal crowd here at Brainerd, but hopefully next time when they come back in September, it could be a sold out event. I would love to see it. I feel like they deserve it more than us, even though we're locals, but just continuously just help and show support with one another really helps grow this community.
Well, the way I see it, right, is, for example, we had some people from, like, Canada over here
that
came
for
out,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like every time you move states, it's a different hub, right?
Yep.
So, like, if you're Colorado, right, and you're racing in Vegas or whatever, you're going to get some more Cali guys. But if you're in Colorado and you come out to a Minnesota event, you're going to get some more East Coast guys.
Exactly.
It's just a little easier because,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to do a 10-hour drive than a 20-hour drive.
sure.
Yeah.
So it's a little different mix.
I could see this event growing too. I think it's had some rocky past and some things, and it's changed hands a couple times. But I think I got a lot of faith in the hands that it's in now.
Yeah.
I think that this is gonna be good, and I hope they keep doing it. And I think this one in the fall hopefully is a little bit bigger. But yeah, this has been absolutely great.
I agree with you.
I had a lot of youngsters came up today. They're like, "Whoa, there's so many fast cars here." I was like, "Yeah, I told you guys to come up. Like you guys normally would come up. But I don't know why you guys decided not to."
Yeah, I think this event, like you mentioned, it was kind of rocky, up and down, not really consistent. And it's starting to be more known as a party weekend versus like a competition,
The
right?
past, yeah.
And then when you hear that, then the folks that are competing, like the Chicago guys or the Iowa guys, or more the guys that have to make that travel, right? They don't want to come up if it's just a party. If they're not serious about competing, or if it's not dedicated for drag racing, they don't want to waste their time because, they're spending a lot of money on the cars, trying to be the best of the best, and not come here for like a clown show, right? They want to be here to prove themselves, right, or to have a nice track prep, So the promoters here, the organizers, definitely changed the game. A lot of the the timing was on point. Everything was all business, all
Real
business,
organized.
yeah.
Real organized.
Less party and more so let's
race.
let's get these races and let's race.
Not to say we didn't party a little bit,
Right.
but
There's time for that.
and that's good to hear. It's good to hear that.
We don't party.
yeah.
We won't mention John. Cut that out. Just kidding. I'm sorry, John.
It's good to hear that from the racer perspective too, right?
yeah.
Because we're just here spectating. We're not really participating. We're not at a competitive level, even if we did bring our cars, right? But it's good to hear that from the racer perspective because we do want to see that grow. And Charlie, who's overseeing this overall event here, and then obviously you got Carrie on the drag side, whoever else on the autocross side. I've been spending a lot of time over here, in case you didn't notice. On this side of the track, but like. That's his ultimate mission. He's trying to make this event as good as possible. He wants to bring the big names. It's an event has to grow, right? Like you can keep it grassroots for as long as you can, and you'll always have those styles of events. But you also need one or two events that's the big leagues. You need something for the locals to aspire to, and you need out of towners to come. So yeah, we could still have whatever, Speed Summit, Rookie, whatever.
Yeah.
But you need a top tier event like this that does draw a crowd. And do you guys think that this is headed in the right direction?
To me, I think the track officials here, the property, the tools they have available for this, because Brandon can hold a big NHR events, so I know that they can do it. It's up to us as the local racers, as well as working with the local track officials here, to grow it, together, right? Because it takes a team to grow this, right?
We need.
They have the facility, but then if they hold their end of the bargain, we'll hold our end of the bargain. It has to mesh. It has to mesh, and I believe it will, and it can. So
what does them and you? So what does each end of the bargain look like?
I'd say if they can provide us, the track prep, which they're doing a great job now.
That's good to hear. Prep is everything.
Also, like testing, testing time. Give us enough time to test. Don't hot lap us to us. A lot of these cars, when we pull a shoe, we have to take time to let the cars cool down. Repack shoes, go through all the safety, recharge our 16 volts. A lot of us don't have alternators. We run on just enough power to get down the track, right? Yeah. And then it's almost at the power, the battery is at almost like 25% only. So I think if they can hold their end of the bargain, just kind of give us a little time. Give us more track time, versus mixing it with too many events like roll racing or what do you call it, the triple threat stuff, and then kind of pushing the drag races outside more as like a second option. That'll definitely get more of the drag races back in and say, okay, we'll get enough seat time. You know, they won't hot lap us. You know, secondly, they will kind of you know, work with us as far as, you know, what our needs are. You know, I think that's going to be a key to having a good partnership and growing this events like this, you know, in this facility.
So do you think, so right now this is like a 2.5, 3-day kind of event. Do you foresee like in the future, like if this is like a 4-day event, would that kind of make sense, or would that be pushing it? Because like Texas is like a week now.
I think that well, that would be pushing it, but because we didn't, you know, I think we're good with. We should win. I guess the schedule should have stayed like, you know, 3-day event, you know, for drag racing.
Like how it used to be.
Oh yeah, and like today, like say Friday, we wouldn't have to qualify. Usually Fridays it's test and tune days. Yeah.
Work out the bugs.
And Saturday we'll be qualifying. And then, you know, Sunday, wake up Sunday, we're in eliminations. We're going, you know. And so that means that gives you time. Say during qualification on on Saturday, right? Say you break and you needed that half a day or whatever you got left until the next morning. That's time that you can,
Almost
you know,
grace, you know,
yeah.
grace period of courtesy of try to get your car
fixed,
together.
yeah. But yeah, I guess if we had that same 3-day event again, it'd be nice, you know, because like we're about to be done like about a few hours here, so you know, and I guess not a lot of people. You see how many buys we had here, you know, they could have fixed their cars, you know, because they didn't have time, you know.
Yeah, I think cleaning it up, it seems very professional here right now. So that's gonna get some more people in here.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you were talking about what that looks like on both ends, and then we have to agree to not act like asshats, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like, I mean, I feel like it's not that hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and like we were saying, if you also like to have a good time, you got the wheelie bar. We were in there having shots last night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still you can have a good time,
Exactly.
and just not get in your side by side after that roll into a family's tent.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
Those kind of shenanigans.
Speaking from experience, right? Okay.
This dude, by the way, yesterday we're at the wheelie bar, and then he's like, all right, shots for everybody. And they're like, no, we don't want it. He's like, no, there's a $10 minimum. I got to spend the money for everybody.
My card $10 either way. So I'm like, you know what? I only bought 2 drinks. It's time to get more.
Yeah. Okay. That's crazy. $10. Wow.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, it's like on the track side of things, like I get they want to make their money on all sides. Like, yeah, we want to go to the bar. Let's have, you know, we want to have a little bit of a party aspect. But I think there's a maturity. I like partying with the older guys, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like I turn 25 next month, right? I like hanging around 35, 40-year-olds. You know, I haven't talked to many MILFs, but like, I like older dudes like I'm friends with, right? It's like because like I like being around experience, right? I don't know. And how old are you?
I'm 33.
33, and like you said, there's a age difference between you guys. Like, you know, you learn from, you know, these guys, you know, at the end of the day. And I think that there's more fun in that, especially if you get a few beers. Like, you guys have been very hospitable, by the way. Every time we come to your tent, it's like, here's a beer.
It's just a part of our culture.
beer.
Our parents kind of like mold us into being generous and giving, you know.
I'm gonna have to teach you guys how to chug though, because that was kind of sad.
Come back.
All right,
we
sounds
had
good.
Yeah, you have a badass one shot.
Yeah,
We can go test that again later.
yeah, all right. Round 2.
Yeah. we were still racing yesterday, so yeah.
You got to be careful, Dan. We're outnumbered 3-2 here. I know you're a scrappy guy, but I'm not helping you in this fight. But, okay, I want to ask you this. So do you guys have much experience on the streets?
Yeah, I can answer that first.
Of Mexico.
Yeah.
On the streets of Mexico.
Yeah, so
Canada.
pretty much, going back to the high school days, you know, we like I mentioned to you guys yesterday, you know, we were doing the street thing well beyond before Fast and Furious. Not only that, you know, cops, you know, back then cops didn't care, you know, because there's not that big of a crowd, you know. So the street was where our, like you said, grassroots are, you know. That's where we didn't know any tracks. We don't have the money to go to a track, right? And that's where it was, you know. You would find a couple of guys and just go test, right? That's definitely where most of the racers' roots are from. Not knowing anybody that knows the track or has not a facility nearby, so you have no options, right? At that age, so we would definitely know the streets, been through the streets of Mexico, of course, you know. And I know basically that was the original base or our foundation of, you know, our passion, you know.
Yeah, Fuji's right. Being in the streets back then, I'll see, we, you know, have fun. It was just, we're kids, and you didn't know no better.
Graduate,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, like you're okay, now older, you have more responsibilities, more shit to lose.
Yeah.
Like you're like, okay, it's time to get more responsible.
Yeah, and I don't know. We have a lot of experience in the streets, and it's a lot of people know us because of the streets.
Yeah.
Nate was on the street one day, just like John. John's been on the street. He's one of the guys we looked up to when we were younger. He had a car. Yeah,
Look back to
yeah, he had a nice car, and he had some buddies that had fast cars too. And they were fast. Make 13 seconds, but back then 13 was pretty quick, but not so much. But yeah, we learned from it and got good experience from the streets.
What'd you have back in the day?
Back in the day, I had a '89 Civic Hatch.
Okay.
Yeah, so SI.
And
I
their
started
whole
with,
team is called Team Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah, street names.
I
Street
started off
teams.
with a 1993 Honda Prelude, so that's still near and dear to my heart. Those Preludes, because you're never gonna forget your first car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I started with.
Yeah, I started with the 91 EF hatch. Yeah, nothing special.
Well, you make it special.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
It's kind of what you do with it.
Yeah,
right?
it had like 200K, drove into 300K, motor never took a crap. It's like, heck yeah.
So what goes into making a car go into that level of power, right? Like, especially like you don't do that all in one go, right? Like if I go buy a Civic right now, I'm not gonna be like, all right, I want this to be 1,000 horsepower build.
Right.
You kind of do it in phases, right? So what is like each of the and I'm not sure if you guys have a similar trajectory, but what do the phases look like when you're building up?
Well,
Yes.
hold on here. I don't think there's
Let me go first.
Well, say if you wanted to, you gotta have a goal. So or maybe if you don't have a goal, say you start off, you're gonna end up spending a lot more money than you want to. And if you go ask somebody what they say your goal 1,000 horsepower, they could give you the quick and easy, and you spend a better. I mean, you spend $20,000 less, because you didn't have to go through the hardships of buying turbo kits like here and there, or fuel injectors, fuel system.
Pretty much buying things twice.
Yeah, you pretty much buy
To get to the next
maybe
level.
3 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's phases. We've been through the phase. Yeah,
Yeah.
we bought basic turbo kits, just like small turbos. We maxed those out, at 400 horse. Then
Have
like,
to upgrade
okay,
again, yeah.
upgrade again. Okay, let's go to a 62 millimeter. Well, 62 millimeter. I guess like your goal is around 700, right? 700, 800 there. That'll be a 62 millimeter turbo. Then up to the big boys, the 67, 70s.
Yeah, money brings up a good point. I think when we were pretty much the guinea pigs of the import side, there was not a lot of knowledge, right? And everyone was just kind of guessing, trying new things, right? But nowadays, if I would recommend to like a new racer or somebody that's starting to get into the game, right? Definitely do things once and do it right. You don't want to make a lot of mistakes because it can be costly, that that $300 part that you bought that you should have spent like $1,000 on caused you to blow a motor, right? Because you went cheap, right? So I'd say to the younger generation, study online, ask some of the more experienced guys, and do it once, do it right, because it can get costly, frustrating, and blood, sweat, and tears.
Key thing is asking the experienced guys. Not a lot of people I guess I don't know if they're scared or whatnot. Just to come up and ask like, oh, what does it take to build this? Or if they're willing to, they got to build a car. They should come and ask us, and we could give them the straight get go. I'm not gonna lie to somebody and say, oh, you use this part where it's not real. I'll tell them how to build this setup is. What the setup is what it consists
We've been
of.
through the pain and suffering, so we don't want nobody else.
Yeah, it's we talk about this all the time about how the community usually comes together, and especially if somebody's into that same passion, like you don't have to twist their arm to talk about their car or anything like that, right? Like they're ready to go. I always tell people, like, we have a friend of ours, Jay, just picked up this FD RX-7, and he's asking me questions. Like, I know a little bit about him, but not a lot. But I'm like, first thing I would do if I got into something new is join a Facebook group or a forum or something like that, where it's like you've got 5,000 people that are talking about the same thing, right? You can get on there, ask questions, because they've blown shit up. They've done stuff, they've been there.
We also got to point out that Talon just ran. What did it say?
74.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good race. Yeah, and there might be a live feed that they're streaming to this. I'm gonna see if I could jack that live feed.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
to
it's
throw it
be
in
nice.
here.
Yeah.
And that Talon is just a 4-cylinder, what, maybe
Yeah.
2.2, 2.4 at the most?
Yeah.
That's how people look at you guys, though.
Yeah.
Well, the key thing is Mark's been in the game for a long time.
Yeah, he has.
He started from being 10 seconds. Well, about 2010 around there, 2011, maybe in 2008 around there. He started 10 seconds, and he's been building his car for a long time. When we knew him, like from the start of Brainer. Actually, Brainer started around the proving grounds era of this started around 2010, I think it was.
So he's in it for the long haul, too.
Yeah, you get to he's for sure in it for a long haul. Can't stop now.
So what's next for you guys then? Like, what's the next iteration of like each of your builds look like?
Well, for me, since my class and my dream building my car to where it is has kind of faded away, I'm thinking maybe going sequential, just like a lot of the faster all-wheel drive guys. It's a hefty price to pay for a sequential, but it seems to be it's easier on the motor. It stays in power band. It's easier for the tuner. There's a lot of positive, and negative is just if it breaks, it costs you
Spendy as fuck.
Yeah.
It gets up there.
But definitely, there's been a lot of good results in the Honda community with sequentials. It seems to be like the new biggest thing for all-wheel drives for Honda communities, at least. So that and a bigger turbo.
And how about you?
My goals, my plans are for my car. I think I'm still going to stay front-wheel drive. Definitely, I think one of the biggest things I want to do is go like more mechanical fuel pump, relying less on voltage power, go mechanical fuel pump, and then maybe upgrading, my ECU. I'm currently on an AM Infinity right now, but like we say, technology has progressed since then already, and I'm actually considered outdated, for a standalone, right? So that's my plans. But I'm still gonna stay front wheel drive. The thing with drag racing is you don't want to make big drastic changes, right? Now you got more gremlins to work out each time, right? So small incremental changes, keep it consistent, and just learn it, max it out, and then graduate to the next level,
Yeah, I like my goal for these two guys, try to get them into, like, I guess, for Fuji, you get them to run low eights, Peter, if he gets to a bigger turbo, the same thing, low eights. Right now we're just fighting the gremlins here and there, there's a lot of stuff that we still need to do yet to get to that point.
Yeah.
So, it's all testing, just getting out there.
Yeah, we know our cars have escalated to kind of full-blown race car. Like, our cars are, like, compared to on a professional level of the Honda side, where our cars are probably halfway there only. It's crazy how, like, the way you can look at it that way. Like, maybe other people wouldn't see it that way, but...
Might want to watch this one, by the way. All right. I'm going to do some commentary. We're going to try to.
Oh, sure.
Oh, you burn his fudge.
Oh, Mario looks like he's hurt.
Tony, right?
Yeah, damn. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's going into the finals. Right lane ran a 9, though.
Yeah.
Kalen gets the buy, so it's Kalen versus Tony.
It's Kalen and Tony. So Minnesota. I think Colorado is...
Yeah, Colorado's out.
Yeah.
So
Colorado's out,
looks
yeah.
like Minnesota's on top on sport.
No, I think that was number one qualifier, too.
Yeah, Mario was
Mario
number one. When at 8.8, that's the world record for a prelude.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the small turbo.
Yeah.
When you say small turbo, how small are we talking?
So he has a 6270 Apex on his, so that's very small compared to Pro, where they're at, 73?
74 mils.
Yeah. So just compare the numbers, right? Subtract it.
So their turbo is pretty much like full potential will be like 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah, for sure.
Where Nate and them, they're gonna climb upwards to 15. They could probably go more depending on how the motor is.
Is there a reason to pick, like, you guys seem to really like those Civic hatches, right? So I like the way the Preludes look too. Is there one that's just laid out better for doing what you guys want to do, or is there a reason why some guys pick certain cars over others, or?
Honestly, I think it's people rock with what they got. Like Fuji's had his car forever, and then I would say, in my opinion, if you talk about pound for pound, the EG hatchback is the best overall chassis. And a lot of people will argue with that, but if you go to the East or West Coast where the top dogs, top hitters are, everyone has a fast 7-second EG. You know, everyone started at that kind of era, 92, 95. Obviously, there's some fast cars like the EKs from 96 to 2000, but if you're talking about majority of race EG drag cars that are quick, I would say EG is probably the best overall pick.
It's just typical.
Yeah.
That's something that people started off with first,
Exactly.
and everybody's like, okay. And they have the blueprint already.
Yeah.
You know, the blueprint of how to make it fast, you know. Say that Prelude that ran, he, you know, not too many people do Preludes because of how the front suspension is set up, you know.
And how heavy they are.
I mean, you could cut
Yeah.
weight too by cutting the car up, but I think that wheelbase might be even shorter.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's how wide it is.
Yeah.
It just doesn't cut through the speeds that we're trying to get our cars to be going at. But I'm proud of. It's like underdog thing, right?
Yeah,
it's
it's
always
underdog
cool
right
to
there,
see
yeah.
like Preludes freaking competing with some of the lightest cars or like different chassis models, Civics. Like everyone has their own like ingredients and what works for them, right?
Yeah, so you guys probably
Yeah.
you would love to see just everything B or K swapped, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's why I'm like, every time somebody's having a problem, like, you got to put a Coyote in it.
It's just funny you
like,
say
I just
that.
wanna see a
Like,
Coyote in everything.
there's some Honda guys that throw Mitsubishi like Evo motors into Hondas too, and
Is there like a big, so like we had, the guy who was on just before you guys he mentioned LS swap Fox bodies, and I almost threw up because I hate that, right? Is
that's
there
like a taboo thing.
Yeah,
right?
is there a Honda like sacrilege? Like, you don't
Well-
put this in a Honda?
Well, it's always like I think a hate or discriminating thing. Like, you shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that. But I guess some guys, they are very passionate and they're well known in whatever engine platform. So they like, it would be cool if, like, right now the biggest thing is K swap the world, right? You have Mustangs that K swap, trucks, you know, you name it, that they done it. You know, it's crazy. So it's very similar to that, applied to all different type of platforms.
Yeah, for me, I don't mind. You know, it's cool to see somebody, innovate, something like that. You know, put it in a hatch or something. And
But I feel like sometimes people do it intentionally just to piss off people. Yeah, it's like, I got time and I'm gonna just do it for like either piss this person, like the people off, or just to have a good laugh about it. Like, oh yeah, I did it. It's cool. It's a cool factor, you know.
If you wanted to make somebody angry out of the swap, what would you do right now today?
Man, I have to think about that one.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
Honda-wise or in general?
Just in general. Like, you want to piss someone off.
I think I've seen it all already. I don't feel like
I
I'm
think one that kind of bugs most. Not most people. Some people is maybe throwing like a 2JZ in a Tesla or something. You know, right?
We just had that. So we had the Patience guys on a few episodes ago, and they have a EV swap 964 Porsche, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you should see the comment sections on that, dude. They are going ape shit.
Yeah.
And it goes on both sides. You know, the EV side and the gas side, right? And
Yeah, it's like, why would you put that in a stupid Porsche? And it only weighs like 2,700 pounds or whatever. Still, it's like that's like half the weight of one of these Teslas because there isn't all the extra safety to all that.
exactly.
yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy. How do you guys feel about the EV side of things? You would never, or what?
It's cool, but it's not. It's like you can close your eyes and make it happen. You know, I'll tell you this much: there's no better feeling than shifting gears and feeling that G-force and then applying to your skill set and trying to make it happen. Right? I think it kind of goes back to where you first learn how to drive stick. It's like learning how to release the clutch so you can start giving it some gas and go climbing up hills and etc. Right? So I feel like that's kind of like the cool factor of that versus EV. It's kind of like close your eyes, like your grandma could do it, you know. And
That's crazy because you're going sequential, so I don't know.
Yeah. They call it. It's funny in the Honda community. They call it the H pattern guys are still like shifting it, and versus the sequential, they call it the sequential, the pussy stick. Because like there's not much to it besides just that. It's like a shift paddle. But
I think on the Honda side, I think before the sequential, I think a lot of respect was given to the Honda guys because you had to manually clutch it, manually have to shift, and that caused a lot of carnage because once you do that, miss shifts or they call it money shifts, the 1-2-1 shifts, you do indos, on the track. So I think especially from the domestic side, you guys know, more so the domestic side is auto, right? Which is a lot more popular, which brings a lot of consistency, and it's you're using that that advantage, and it makes it a lot more consistent. Whereas us Honda guys, we could be running a 9-second pass, one pass, and running at 11, next pass, miss shifting or something else is gonna happen, so.
8 or 9 seconds in anything stick shift is pretty freaking awesome,
for
and
sure.
it's I'm getting tired of this automatics are faster. I mean it's what your preference is, and I think we should all be able to agree that you got to tip your hat to a guy who's out there you're adding that extra hit the clutch, bang the gears, get down the track. Like there's a lot that's intense going from there to there, and having to do
in a high horsepower car.
It's a lot of coordination with the body movements. Yeah.
You're feeling the G forces. You're the car's getting upset. You're like, okay, trying to get.
There's a lot of variables going down the track. Like sometimes I feel like when I know the strain gauge is not working, I'd be a quick reaction and press the clutch to shift gears. And I done that a couple of times this weekend, just because like. We're trying to test things out and progress, because we're trying to push the cars to the next level, or at least to its limits.
Now, this next car here that's coming up, the Z01, that car's fast, but it's automatic.
Yeah, I think it ran a 9.4 earlier when we were watching it.
Oh, okay.
So
I
don't
think
know.
this thing is manual, right? Or these come manual, or
I don't know. Dan's laws, his eyes are glazing over because it's a Camaro.
Got it on Dan.
I'd rather see a case swap.
let me go drive mine around quick.
So are you guys all just drag race guys, or how do you feel about like road racing or other types of racing?
So I started just because my generation, we were like in the era of drag racing in the street was kind of dead. So we were like drag racing here and there, but we started off just road racing, being in a bigger city. Like we just had nicer highways, right? So we would do like 30 rows, 20 rows, 40 rows, 50 rows, you name it, depending on what horsepower level you had on your car. But we mainly did that. I mainly did that when just throughout the years of growing into the sport of drag racing. But I always watched like drag racing was the coolest thing back then when I was a kid.
Yeah, to me, I'm actually, I can go 180 miles per hour straight, but I don't like going sideways. So the drifting, the autocross, that's not for me. And I think that's just a personal preference. I like having more control of just the steadiness, being on like rails. I think I like that more. I've had similar stuff happen to me in my Supra. Wet roads, and all of a sudden, you're just zigzagging, right? Fishtailing, So I'm always more like a straight drag race guy for me. So,
would you see what would it take to get throw some different wheels on, or have you ever thought about coming out to Power Cruise? You can't, because you don't have an alternator. You'd make it halfway around
It's
the
funny.
track, and then you'd be getting pushed off.
yeah.
Yeah, me and Money were talking about like, hey, if I don't go like 8s this weekend, I could just maybe turn. We saw an Evo Grid Life sticker. We're like, oh, maybe I can turn my car to a Grid Life time attack car or something. It'd be cool because there is some K swap all-wheel drive cars that are out there doing it, but it's just there's not a lot of progress into it because just not everyone's got that kind of deep pockets of learning what works and what doesn't. So a matter of time, it will eventually
I'd just like to
be
see
big.
your car out here just pissing people off though. At
Oh,
Power Cruise.
yeah.
Just like some high horsepower cars, the Honda comes blowing by them.
Yeah, I mean, you see it on the internet all the time, but in reality, it's kind of like it takes a lot to get to that level, in my opinion.
Some of these cars out on Power Cruise, they're no
they're
joke.
fast.
They're no joke.
They're fast.
If you Peter's car, I could say he'll probably beat like half of them. The other half are they're fast cars. They're top end cars. Like the Lambos. Your those Vipers. Those guys, man, they're pretty quick.
Yeah, displacement means they got the advantage. It's true. Everyone has their own advantage. But my car is like this weekend when I've only trapped at 155 miles per hour, which you think that would be kind of high. But if you think about in a road race, that's actually not very high at all, because you're compared to some of these Vipers, Lambos, higher displacement cars where they're in the 180s average. Like, that's just easy cakewalk for them.
Oh, yeah, at Texas 2K, you see all these guys. Like,
exactly.
What was the bump? Bump was, I think, 181 miles an hour.
Wow.
Just to qualify.
Exactly.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, I mean, especially for when it comes to roll racing, some of those, again, I've been in 3-second cars, 60 to 130s, that's insane. Do you guys even look at 60 to 130? You probably don't even look at that. No, it's worthless for you guys, right?
That's a draggy thing, man.
Yeah.
That's a new draggy thing.
Draggy just to see what he does here, 60 to 130, and then you find out, how fast it is, how fast Fuji's car and then Peter's car.
Yeah, I don't think I'll get on that draggy thing because I feel like a lot of the newer generation is very toxic. At least on social media, at least.
Oh, dude, it's. I'm in the Facebook forum. I think it was 180,000 members on there or something.
On Draggy Talk, right?
Yeah, Draggy Talk.
Yeah.
Dude,
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
they talk.
Pretty much everyone trashes on one another, and then you get the funny cars come in there and just show them freaking 1.8 seconds
just for fun.
Yeah, they have 4-second cars, and they're just you guys are just kids, and it's just putting each other in check, humble yourself, right?
What's the best race you guys have done? We'll start with you. Do you have any race that you just remember? You killed it, or it's just a close race, or anything like that?
No, not really. I don't really
They're
have
not special to you?
They're not. A race is just a race, It's just a learning curve for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have a memorable race where I damn.
Yeah,
the next one. Pretty much. Yeah, I can't wait for the next event. In August, we're going to go to IFO in Rock Falls. So we're going to try to get our cars prepped for then.
So what's next? I'm almost hit myself with this goddamn mic. What's next for prep for you guys then? Because you got some gremlins to work out, right? So what's that to-do list look like for each of you guys?
Mine is pretty big. There's still a lot of my speed sensors that I didn't even hook up yet. My clutch slipper, and then just a lot of the small things that I've been just pushing out to the side I should have taken care of. So, yeah, most likely get to those items before August for sure.
Yeah, and then for me, no big major changes. I think what I need is being a family man and having working full time, and I just need more seat time. I need to make more availability to be on a track. You can't have months or years gaps of starting fresh, right? Mm-hmm. You lose rhythm, you lose your pattern, and then basically you got to get the jitters out of the way again. Right? So I think more consistency, more seat time, more track time, and just more of a frequency of being out there, getting comfortable with the car, feeling the power.
Yeah,
I think that'll be a huge benefit for me.
Yeah, I've got similar situation going on. So I've been really trying this year to force myself, go to these things, go to the events, get your car out there, do this stuff. It's been hard. It's been stressful this year because I've got 1,000 things going on. But,
right.
If I really enjoy doing this, I got to get out there more.
Yeah. And you can't expect to go fast after a 1 or 2 year hiatus. The car's gonna react different. Your movement, your rhythm's gonna be different, and more seat time, frequency. Just rinse and repeat each time.
Yeah,
that's. I think that's a big plus for any racer. So. Mm-hmm.
What do each of your cars weigh? I don't know if you guys said that earlier on.
Mine's actually overweight. I'm supposed to be right at around the 2,400 pound. But once again, with the traction problems, not grabbing, I added another 100-pound weight in front. So I'm right around 2,500 pounds right now. So.
Okay.
Yeah, my car is 2,600 pound minimum for my class, but my car is right above it, slightly about 100 pounds. So 2710, and then fluctuates from gas.
To us, that's very heavy.
Yeah,
But
that's
to other cars.
To a Honda, you think that'd be like super light, right?
it's
But
not, yeah.
reality to the Honda world, it's like, bro, like you need to cut some weight. Not this. I mean the car.
What's the? Because I can't remember who I was talking to down in the pits. What's the weight distribution look like?
For power, or is it? You mean like
where you wanna be?
weight by it?
Yeah, like somebody was talking about like corner balancing. Or
Oh
whatever.
yeah. So quarter balance determines on front wheel drive, all wheel drive. All wheel drive, as long as all the suspension is kind of even, then it works. Just for the slicks, so it doesn't torque steer you. Basically, what it is.
Yeah, there was. I can't remember which one of you said it, but we were talking yesterday. It stuck with my mind that one of you was like, "Oh, you want to go faster? Get me a cutoff wheel."
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, we'll make it faster.
But we always joke with Fuji, like, if he doesn't go 8, like, we're gonna make his car all-wheel drive and make him go 8, Like, I told him, you can borrow my drive shaft and my setup, but just don't be angry when we chop your car up. Because, like, at that point, it'd be hard to go back to front-wheel drive.
Yeah, so for front wheel drive, the weight distribution we want is like near 80-20 or at 80-20. I think you do any more than that, you might risk.
You do any more that you're risking when the parachute opens, your
back's too light,
Yeah.
It's got to pick up your back. And that's why some of these cars, like Jamie PFI Speed's car, he told me yesterday he was at around 90. And I was
90,
like,
10,
crazy.
yeah.
Like, and I was like, okay. And then he has one of those air spoilers where when at the end of the track when he throws out his parachute, it'll come up.
like a downforce
or maybe I think
swing.
I think it's under a certain speed, I guess. And that's crazy. You look online and you see a lot of the fast Hondas crashing because of that, the weight bias there.
And you can't ever predict when the direction
The
of wind is
crosswinds
going.
are
the wind
dangerous.
matters. Yeah.
Dude, that crosswind's gnarly. Like I've seen that crosswind like mess up parachutes pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
especially if you have like a tailwind, like a fast tailwind, like
Yep.
30 miles an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
When the chute pops out, it can kind of like
Trust me, we see some pretty
It won't blossom
wild.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
If
see
it gets
some.
caught up, it pulls you a different way.
Yeah.
I've seen that too.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
pretty
We've
bad.
seen some pretty crazy crashes just from Hondas crashing from tailwinds. Yeah. You can imagine flipping 10 times. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We were just talking with Greg here just before this. Like he had some crazy accident where he was sliding on the top of his roof. And all that, just,
Upside down.
yeah,
Okay.
upside down.
crazy.
Yeah, dude. Like that's crazy. Like you'll have to listen to the last episode to hear more about that story. But
Oh yeah. We'll listen to it.
Plus, you need to know if he was talking any shit about you.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, that's the reason why he was real nice to me out there, but what did he say in here?
Behind my back.
you could see it in his face, by the way, because like we're over here like having like a good conversation. Like he's already my car is broken. I'm not gonna be out there. He was being a good sport, right?
Right.
But I could see in his eyes, he's like, "Fucking wish I was out there." Like,
Rip him on it.
not to beat you, but like he wants to be out there doing more
Yeah.
runs, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's what it
Keep-
is, right? And I'm just curious. You don't even have to know the number to this. Like, how many passes do you think you guys have done over the years?
Oh wow! Over the years,
Man, I can't count.
probably for me,
Like, you can't count in general. You mean can't count your passes?
Both. Nah, I plead the fifth.
Yeah, you say, like when I look at my bank account, I'm like, I got money, and
I
the
got
next day it's
money.
negative. So
Yeah.
money.
How many
what do you
beers
think?
I've
We
drank
probably-
today? I
we
don't
gotta
know.
be
Your
near the
card?
1,000 mark, or 500.
Yeah.
500 or so.
Yeah, well, throughout the years.
Yeah, throughout the years.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I don't have as much
well, yeah.
as them,
I-
but
Well over 500 on
My,
my Civic, Yeah. So
I have for sure 100 hits on my Civic for sure.
I mean, are you still kind of in that learning phase too? I mean, everybody's in the learning phase. There's always more to
Right.
learn, right?
Right.
But how long have you been racing for then?
So I didn't really start drag racing like at a drag track until I built my Civic. Like, you'll take your stock cars and go race, but that's just testing tunes. I don't consider that really racing. When I say racing, like taking it to a event and then racing a bracket class, it's different from a testing tune, in my opinion, at least. So I didn't really start that until I started my EG all-wheel drive build. So about 5 years, I've been really dedicated and just spending all my money into it.
Yeah, for me, I'm probably at least over 20 years of racing. So once again, you guys say it's always a learning phase. There's always been new technology, new methods to go faster, right? Whether it's non-technology or like little tricks of the trade, right? So yeah, I'm well over 20 years of drag racing, and that's why I say I like going straight only. I don't like going sideways or crisscrossing,
Well, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's like, oh, I got to turn now? It's like, you're crazy.
What's turning?
I don't know if we touched much on the all-wheel drive side of you, though. Like, so is that like, how much of that work did you do yourself?
So the all-wheel drive S1 kit came out late 2017. That's when they started, I guess, our R&D side of, and started selling it to like a few customers here and there. I was like, there's the chance. I always told myself, like, the reason why I got out of Honda is because, like, once I said it earlier, but spending not winning, front-wheel drive, right? So I was like, I bet you one day, if they just spent the R&D and money into all-wheel drive systems, like, it would be a killer fast cars, and then fast forward just a year, 2018, I was like, oh, they're finally selling a kit. So I bought the kit from S1 from Florida, and then they gave me a good deal, and I was like, let's try it. I didn't know how it was going to mock up, but, for them, it's just a learning curve for them as well, right? So I got to pretty much do it by myself and then learn all the don't do and do's, and also growing with social media of following other people, because they see that you're putting some money into it. So they even though they've been heavy hitters in front wheel drives and they've gone to all wheel drives, they're like, yeah, I'll tell you what works for me, and I tell them what works for me. Mm-hmm. Like, we share information back and forth.
When you get a kit like that, does it look like you source your own transfer case and stuff? They're like, here's the parts and pieces you need to get this, and this kind of deal? Or?
Yeah, so when the all-wheel drive first came out, they just sold the trailer arms and then the to mount the diff. Then they didn't really explain like what diff work, what drive shaft they use. Some people just had general idea of what they use. And then the best combination up to date, it just depends on how deep your pockets is. And the wagon setup from the 88 wagons was, people were going 8s off the bat. Like, you're talking about something 30 years old. And then
grabbing parts off 1980s Civics.
And then they're putting on their cars using the all-wheel drive kits, and then they're just using the drive shaft, rusted as hell. The diff is rusted as hell, and their cars are consistent already, high 8s, and then all of a sudden they're starting to hit low 8s, so there's gave them kind of like a whoa, like the all-wheel drive does make a big difference, and that, I think that's when that exploded the market, and people started making a bunch of different kits out there, and people really just got on board. Everyone started converting their front wheel drives to all wheel drives, and people started to build just completely chassis that were just all out outlaw all wheel drive cars.
Oh, I thought you were going to. All right, this whole multi-mic game is that's fun. No, it's different. I mean, I always said if they made an all-wheel drive Hellcat and it lost 600 fucking pounds, it'd be a
exactly
of a car.
Yeah. It's like
that'd be a monster.
It would be a no-brainer. Like, if you spend, like nothing against domestic cars, but domestic cars, they put cams in, they can easily gain 100 horsepower, right? Maybe not all, but I'm just throwing numbers out there. I don't know that for a fact, but for sure more than imports. You put cams on a Honda motor, you're looking at maybe 5 to 15 horsepower max. You know,
Is it because they already like? So like I reached out to a company one time to port a Whipple blower that I had, and they're like, we don't port Whipples because they're already using everything that they can. So is it probably because Honda already was like, listen, we've done R&D, we know this is the most you're gonna squeeze out of this cam. You know, that's probably the factor. Maybe.
Yeah, because the compression and everything matters.
Yeah.
Right.
Cam, we get into a certain cam, and if you're at like a 10, you know, you can only maybe go up to stage 2. You know.
yeah.
And if you go to stage 3, that might be bad because it's moving your power band up higher,
Starving your ear. You know, Hondas love air. The more it can suck, and you know that sounds wrong,
50
but
psi.
yeah, you know. So, like back to what Money was saying, like stage 2 could be the limitation before you start to have to sporty mods. What you have to go with, like. You know, bigger intake, higher compression, piston rod, spring retainers to get to the level 3 camshaft or something to really make power difference.
Well, you got to remember it's times 2, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah, for
like
sure.
at 2.7 was at 5.4. So you're already like, you can get maybe 30 more, but it's 60 more, 100 more. You were about right on your numbers there. You got twice the motor, twice. It's like having 2 freaking K series slapped together in a V. You know what I mean?
V-shape,
Yeah.
You guys don't want to see that.
That's what I think I saw a podcast that someone argue about the Coyote motors is basically 2 K series slapped together.
No, the Coyote motors are pretty stout. I like it. I haven't done a lot of research, but I've just been watching it, and I was like, wow, they could withstand a lot of stuff, and they're really efficient.
Everybody has their like flagship, right? Like between your automakers, and I can appreciate all of them. I actually been talking to guys. I have a little Bronco too that I have like a vision of 2JZ swapping it, just because I'm like, I think that'd be freaking sweet, right?
Yeah.
I can appreciate the over engineering of the engine. That really is something it's incredible what you can squeeze out of those things.
Yes.
So, and as I've been hanging out with more of these. We work out of the Ratified studio, so I'm watching all of these Audis and BMWs, and it's got me scratching my head, going, maybe whatever. I hang out with you JDM guys, and I'm like, oh man, that'd be sweet to have something like that. And I've always liked, I was into like the BMW 3 Series in the 90s. Yeah. We were talking about Hondas. You know, I've been hanging out with you guys all weekend, and I've always loved those little hatches. I mean, you know, a car guy is a car guy. You kind of get into your niche, but at the same time, we all can appreciate. Some over engineering.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree with that. Yeah.
So what is it that makes the K, and I guess in this case the B, like what makes them so special? Is there any way to describe that?
K series, I would say just the variable timing. It's just
overall being bigger.
Yeah.
You know, everything's.
It's just an advancement,
just
right?
an
Yeah,
advancement, yeah.
Everything's just bigger.
I think
something that GM just can't get on board with. Like, variable valve timing that everybody's jumped on that bandwagon.
Everybody's done that, yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's like in
the key
all
thing-
platforms. I think that's key.
Yeah.
And to the next level at least.
Well, they're still running that single cam, so that's not really good for variable valve timing.
Yeah.
You're controlling everything off a single cam, and you rather have each cam have variable valve timing so you can adjust. You know, it'll change your power band for good or bad. It depends on where you want it, you know.
Yeah, and for the B series, I think which might eventually might be a dying breed, you know, because these motors are getting harder to source because it's a lot older. People didn't blow them and tossing them, so it is going to get harder to source. But I think one big advantage of the B was the availability of parts, you know.
Yeah.
Performance and aftermarket parts, you know. There was an era where everyone was just dumping all this mods into the B series, so that was a big plus. That's why the B series had definitely a jump start on the K series as far as performance parts. You know,
Are they still making the K series? And if not, what is Honda's new? Is there something that's like their newest, greatest, like kind of flagship thing? Like, so like I'll use BMW as an example. They're this S58 platform that they got right now that's just absolutely killing stuff. Is Honda have something like that now?
No. So the K series, they haven't. So the K20s and the 24s are pretty much like the gold nugget of the K series. Like B series, it was the B18Cs with the VTEC heads. That was like the golden nugget ticket for B series. But for K series, the newest Ks are very designed differently. But I'm starting to see a lot of people putting some testings into those motors. I wouldn't say it's gone to as good as sweet as the 24s and 20s, but I think eventually it will get there. I see like the J series making its comeback now for the Honda motors too.
I think Money might know more about
Yeah.
this. What is the next
newer,
flagship?
newer Civics, the Civic Type R motors? Yeah,
I think that's
those
the
motors
new-
are not bad. I don't think there's enough. I guess not a lot of people has been doing anything with it. They've just been throwing bigger turbos and everything. I don't know about. I think Ford Piston has a head for it already. They port that head, and I mean,
just too new still. I think, right?
it's too new, and I mean, you're gonna spend a lot of money just to get that motor, and you rather just buy a K.
Yeah, I think
You know,
the
the-
marketing. I think the marketing is like this. Like they don't want to work on newer engines platform unless someone already spent the millions into it. Otherwise, they're like, "Oh yeah, this works. We're gonna just keep marketing this instead." You know, the hype train is this. You know, so eventually we'll probably all get there. Like B series be extinct.
Yeah.
Like right now, just a crankshaft costs like $1,000. You know, it's crazy. Like a perfect condition, not used. Even just the block itself is so rare to find, and heads. Yeah, it's crazy. Versus you can get a full case swap from the junkyard for $250.
yeah.
Out of CRV.
And you know, and still run 12 seconds or throw a turbocharge on the eBay special 35R on it and go 10s, 9s maybe. Yeah, it's been proven.
A lot of you guys know Ratified Motorsport for their RS3, TTRS, 1,000 horsepower hairdresser car builds, but they are so much more than that. From basic maintenance on an R35 GTR to, you know, cute little Volkswagen GTIs like mine, they're able to do a little bit of everything. Whether it's your basic maintenance or an intake and a tune or even a full-blown build, be sure to go to ratifiedmotorsport.com to get yourself booked today, and I hope to see you guys at the shop.
Eat that junkyard LS.
Yeah. It's just like the LS stories, you know,
I'm
yeah.
so tired of hearing about a junkyard LS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people has done it, you know, like some people aren't very can't afford things, so they you go to U-Pull, whatever U-Pull there you find, and you make it work. You know,
Yeah.
you rebuild it yourself. That it doesn't cost you an arm and leg. It just gotta be mechanic inclined at that point to
Get
get
something. You said CRV. They
Yeah.
Just, it's dropped the kids off at the school about 185,000 times, and then you
Yeah.
go grab that motor and build it, and you're out here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
yeah, that's the one.
it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that if I don't want to get in trouble when I go back to your camp, is there anything I'm missing on asking you guys while we're here? I think we covered a lot, though.
Yeah, we have.
I'd say. I mean, to maybe this is just a message for the up and coming racers or the new generation. I'd say find a passion, find a hobby. If it's not cars, find something to do. Right, keep yourself busy. Get off the video games, get off the couch. Right, become more active. I definitely support and want the younger generation, the next racers, to come out and see what happens behind the scenes, right? Behind the curtains, right?
Yeah.
Like the Peter story or my story or Money story, the blood, sweat, and tears, and the actual physical and mental work you really have to put into to succeed, right? And don't take the easy route,
Right.
Pretty much
Don't give
that's,
up.
that's my message.
If you give up, you're not gonna know. If I'd have gave up a long time ago, I wouldn't know what I know now.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge is key.
Yeah.
And I feel like a little bit true testament to that is like hanging out around like guys who's been doing it for a long time. Like I always tell them I want to give up. Like it's not that my mentality is giving up. It's just like, it's. I don't know how they did it for so long, and then you just starting and you feel like you're not really there yet, and then you're just kind of figuring things out slowly. It's a slow progress, and sometimes you have to step back and say, it's just a journey, like meeting people that are experienced and also growing yourself mentally too. I think that's key. A message to whoever wants to get into this kind of sport with racing in general, or just modifying cars, it can definitely build character at least.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you surround yourself with those people.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, shout out to John Wayne from JWP for putting us together. You guys have been great. You've welcomed us into your camp. You've offered us food. We've drank beers together. John, you got to stop deflecting, though. We will get you on this podcast sooner or later. We appreciate the guests, but we're going to get you.
He wasn't sure if you guys had tall mics or short mics for
him. We'll get some smaller stands.
I'm sorry, John.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just received a text from John, and he said to delete you from this episode. Sweet. We're about to see the power of technology. You would never
just come back for another episode.
Shop.
I'll come back with John next time.
We've been trying, man. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's like you said, he likes to put other people on.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm the same way too. I like to deflect, and just, I like to connect people. Like sometimes, like the other day, I introduced Caleb to somebody else, and I just left. I'm like, all right, here, I want you to talk to this guy.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I think that's just, there's something to be said about that. Like, there's people like John that put people together in this community, and you need guys like that in this community. I don't know if you guys have other people like that you've met, but I think it's huge, especially for me. I'm a young guy. Like I joined this community realistically 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like before that, I was in school. I barely got my license. I didn't make it out to car shows. I didn't know any of you guys. You know, so guys like John that point people in the right direction too, to not stir trouble, but be around the right type of car community too. I think it's huge.
Yep,
I agree.
And then Dan, do you want to pop the usual three?
Yeah, I think so. We'll do this with sharing a mic. All right. So at the end of every episode, we like to ask our guests to pick 3 cars. I need you to pick a daily driver, a show car, and a track car. You can have anything you want. Money is no object. Swaps, whatever you want. But yeah, I need 3 cars from each of you. Oh, unlimited budget. I think I said that already. Say it again. Yeah. All right. You have an unlimited budget.
Unlimited
Money is no object.
So you said one daily, one show
daily,
track,
a show car, and a track car.
Okay.
And the track, road course, drag strip, whatever you want.
Want to go first?
Why don't you guys come to me last?
Yeah, I was going to say, I was waiting to see who was going to throw
I'll
the
go then.
bus.
I think for a daily, I would like a GTR. Automatic. You don't have to
R35
share.
or?
R35, yeah.
Ooh.
For a track car, definitely something front-wheel drive, Civic. I'm still gonna stick with that. And a show car, yeah, like a Lambo. Definitely Lambo.
What kind of Lambo? Because we got some options.
The Huracan.
Huracan?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you do like twin turbo or anything like
Twin
that?
turbo, yeah.
Okay.
Gotta be twin turbo.
All right, I got to come to this guy. Why'd you say boo to the GTR? Now you got to defend.
Well, if you're a real GTR enthusiast fan, it's all about the R34. That's the golden nugget for GTR.
I just don't like the drive-through windows on the other side.
Hit the right-hand drive.
Yeah, right-hand drive. Yeah.
R35 is sweet. I've driven my buddy's 1600 horse GTR. It's fun, but it gets boring quick. I mean, it's fast, nothing wrong with that. But it feels like, you're just cruising, I took it down the drag strip, it's drive itself kind of deal. It's like coming from racing a H-pattern car to that, you're like...
It's a good daily, then.
It's a good daily, yeah.
Talking like a young man.
I mean, kind of driving itself, kind of like your future sequential, man. I get it.
Yeah. My pussy's thick, you know what I'm saying?
All right. Hold on a second. I will say one thing, like with the GT500, as you get to a certain age, you want to be comfortable and still be able to go fast. I saw a guy post in the forum the other day. He was eating an ice cream cone while driving his car, and he's like, this is actually the real reason why I bought this car over another one. Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, let's hear yours.
Well, my daily, I would say I've always dreamed of daily a twin turbo R8. I'm a big twin turbo R8 fan. Like I wish I could afford one. And then for a drag, I wouldn't take anything other than an all-wheel drive Civic. But at a very 7 seconds, that's always been a super big dream, long-term goal of mine. And then show car. I don't know. I seen a Bugatti up here in Brainerd once, and I was like, dude, that thing is freaking sick, I wish I could own one and just let it sit,
Any like you're talking like a Chiron?
Yeah.
Like the newest one. What
Yeah.
color was the one you saw?
I think it was like brownish. It was like
The
a
gold and black one?
yeah.
So that one, by the way, that Bugatti. So the guy that owns that in Minnesota, he has several of them. But that one,
I see him rolling with the blue one up here once.
yeah. So that this is like recently you saw that
Yeah.
one. So that one's called the Golden Era. So
Yeah.
that's like the top of the tier. Like that's like a special. Like that's the only one that exists. I think.
Oh wow!
I almost crashed into a car, just like breaking neck.
Yeah.
I swear. I was trailing my car up here too. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, that is freaking.
Yeah,
eye
that car
candy.
sold for an unspeakable amount. You think $3 million's a lot? Oh
wow.
that ain't shit. Dude. Yeah, that thing is crazy.
Yeah, I know there's a lot more cooler cars, unique cars, supercars out there, but man, there's nothing sexy.
Hey man, I get it. You like Volkswagen? I get it.
Yeah, yeah. Nah, it's just the looks.
I
Just the
sympathize.
looks.
I'm a
Yeah.
VW guy myself. All right, we coming back to you now.
All right, for me, let's see here. Thinking, for a daily driver, I'm just a typical daily driver. I'm not really too crazy. And just give me, like I'll do like a, give me a Denali, call Denali, and I'm good with that. Let's see here for show car, I'll that. Think about that. It's the 911 GT400.
Before 911.
Like the new GT4s?
Uh-huh.
Like the GT4 RS kind of deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like those. Those are pretty sweet. They're fast right out of the box. So yeah, that'd be a good one. And race car, think race whip. I'll probably go with like I would actually want to go with like maybe like a Fox body Mustang, and just do
Two Jay-Z.
Did that one shock you guys a little bit?
Yeah. K-swap it.
the newer
Yeah.
year Coyote motor, the year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that motor, and I'll probably turbocharge it.
Did that shock you guys a little bit when he said Fox body?
No,
It's like, whoa.
drag guys. It's one of those things. That's another one. It's a unit. Like they win, right?
Yeah.
Like Fox bodies, they were engineered. They go down this track straight and fast. So it doesn't surprise me whenever a drag guy tells me that they like the Fox bodies. That it's almost like they were purpose built for it.
I like the old school look a bit.
Yeah, yep.
It's
Was the other one the Grand National?
Grand National's nice.
That one's nice. To me.
I don't like GM, but I will. I
Old
I
school
would
stuff,
own
yeah.
one of those
Yeah.
for damn sure.
old school. It's like that's a legit car.
Yeah. Well, what were they? They were the fastest production car at that time.
At that time, yeah.
Yeah,
They
which
were.
is nuts,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. That forced induction.
Yeah, absolutely.
If everybody opened their eyes more, they start forced induction way earlier.
Yep. It's kind of funny now. Everything has a turbocharger on it, right?
Forced induction is the way
Yeah.
to go, and not a lot of people does do superchargers, but superchargers are more efficient now too nowadays.
Yep.
They have intercoolers now, and that's a cool thing. But I think that was the thing that I think killed it. Not having an intercooler on it and then getting heat soaked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that heat, and that's lowering your timing.
There's different purposes for different types of forced induction, right? So like this stuff, turbos works great. What I like about my positive displacement blower is the torque you get on the low end, right? So when you're road coursing, you're coming out of a corner, that instant punch
Oh,
to
that's
throw
instant,
my
yeah.
4,200-pound car
Get that
out of
boost
the
right there.
corner.
Yep.
I need that instantly,
Yeah.
So they have everything has its place and
Yeah, it does.
preference for whatever.
Mhm.
Or if you drive an orange Mustang with a centrifugal blower on it and you just want to post videos nonstop of you smoking people at Power Cruise, you're maybe into that.
Yeah.
I know that guy.
Yeah, we won't name names, yeah.
I know that guy.
Yeah.
There's a picture of my car floating around the internet.
What he posted it up.
Yeah. I woke up one day and just saw like 50 notifications and like 10, 15 messages. Like, what's going on? Like, you gonna race him? I'm like, I think he's just for jokes. I thought because I like. Yeah.
You want to wake up with 100 notifications, you let me know. We'll make it happen.
Sure, let's do it.
Which brings me to my next point. Do you guys have any social media or anything people can find you? You guys off the radar? Like, what's the situation? We'll start with you.
So I have Instagram. I do post quite often on there. It's Peter Lee _ all-wheel drive, AWD. You guys follow me on Instagram. I don't really post as much on Facebook. I want to keep it just with family and friends.
Yeah.
But feel free to hit me up on Instagram. I'm always willing to answer questions best to my ability and maybe share some tips.
Sweet. How about you?
Yeah. I just have Facebook. It's Fuji Fang. Basically just post reels on them.
Okay.
So if you guys want to see car stuff, just come there, like, whatever.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not a social media.
You're off the radar.
Yeah, I'm off the radar. So, everything's my social media. Like, Facebook is just family, friends. That's about it.
You almost hit me with that, man. Yeah. What? What's going on? What do I need to tell people where they can find me or what? Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
All right. You can find us at Gunna Garage. My wife always asks me, she's like, "Why do you say us?" Because I do this with my family, my kids. They're involved. We do snowmobile stuff, dirt bikes, car stuff. So yeah, it's I'm gonna get around to getting better at that, but we'll see.
And y'all know where we're at. So, thank you guys for coming on to the show. I really appreciate it. It was awesome to meet all three of you.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you guys for your time
interview,
and the sponsors that kind of brought us together today. So, really shout out to John and Brainer and all the sponsors, Carrie, Nathan. And
If they didn't have this, we wouldn't meet. Yeah.
but they pretty much made it happen for us. Thanks to you guys to letting us get on the cast.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Dan, thanks for existing, and we'll see y'all next time.